This guy woke up startled to find that his legs had been amputated. It's a pair of prosthetic legs instead, but it has great power. Gently knock on the broken door. Not only that, it also has the ability to run at super speed that makes the Flash take off its hat. Nick is a normal person, has a close friend named Johnner, and a lover named Harley, but events come to Nick in a traffic accident, causing him to lose his legs. Now all his activities can only be helped by Johnner. Until one night Nick was accidentally woken up by the sound of a computer. At the same time, he also called Johnner to check and opened the computer to find out that they were being watched by a hacker. Send Gmail to tease them. After a while of searching, they finally found his ID, but more surprisingly, it was in Nevada where the three of them were also going to pass tomorrow. So they decided to go after him, but unexpectedly, they hadn't found the real hacker yet. So he hacked into the security camera to capture the car the three people were riding in. This took them all by surprise, up to a grocery store. When Nick got out of the car to buy food for everyone, but because he was injured, as soon as he walked out the door, Nick accidentally dropped his things outside the car. Seeing that, Harley and Johnner immediately ran to help, who expected that to make Nick feel more uncomfortable, feeling like a useless person. Turned around and went back to the shop to buy things. But when I got out of the car, I only saw Johnner and Harley were gone. As Nick had to drag his crippled legs to find him, Harley was too sad to be alone. Since Nick's accident, he has turned into a different person, always pushing her away and no longer caring about her. But the truth is that with a disabled person like Nick, he was always afraid of people looking down on him, even with Harley. Also, he was afraid that one day she would get bored and say goodbye. Hearing that, Harley was hurt even more, taking off the necklace around her neck and giving it back to Nick, the same promises he made before. Then the three continued on their way, until that night, they had reached Nevada at the address they could find, when the hacker was in the small house ahead. So Nick and Johnner got out of the car and went inside to check it out, leaving Harley alone in the car. But when they went inside searching every nook and cranny, even the basement, two people went down to look, but found nothing. At this moment, hearing Harley's cry for help made the two immediately run out. But Harley had disappeared without a trace. Looking around to check again, accidentally saw a person flying like a ball in the sky. Then the two of them were also attacked by something. Not long after, Nick also regained consciousness but found himself in a hospital. He still couldn't remember what happened. At this moment, a person wearing protective gear entered. He was Dr. Demon, who was in charge of keeping an eye on him. They think that Nick was attacked by a strange object, because when watching the video that Nick and Johnner filmed in the small house, they accidentally discovered a mysterious face hidden behind the tree. According to research, it may be an alien, so Demon is concerned that Nick has been poisoned or infected. For safety, the staff here will have to wear protective gear. On the way back to his room, he accidentally saw Harley lying unconscious on the bed. He wanted to get close to her but couldn't. This made Nick extremely angry and directly threw the whole tray of food on the table. At this moment, he heard Johnner's voice coming from the ventilation pipe. His condition was the same as Nick's, also locked in a closed room and not allowed to go out. His body did not move. Okay. As soon as he finished speaking, Nick couldn't hear anything. The next day, he was brought before Demon again. This time, he tested him with simple questions, distinguishing geometric blocks on the table, but he was not a first grader without knowing. After passing the test, he asked to see Harley, or else he would not open his mouth to answer any more questions. Under Nick's pressure, Demon nodded in agreement but could only let him see from the door. He promised that when she woke up, he would let him meet. Meanwhile, Nick also realizes that something is wrong in here. By all means, get out of here as quickly as possible. So every time he left the room, he would notice and then record the map of this place until one time, when he was being pushed into the hallway by two employees. Suddenly, the emergency alarm signal was activated, the light blinking continuously, and the staff also pushed him into a closed room, as if they were afraid of something, making Nick not understand what happened. Not long after, the lights returned to normal, but when I returned to the two sides of the corridor, there were strange traces, like a strong lightning strike, This makes Nick even more determined to get out of here as soon as possible. That night he started to act, but unexpectedly the demon came to the examination room and learned all of his plans. Meanwhile, with a wheelchair, he also dragged Harley behind, making it extremely difficult for Nick to move. Until a door he couldn't reach to press the code, but the full of people also chased behind, and so he was arrested. When he woke up, he found himself lying on the hospital bed next to Harley, but the two had not yet said a word to each other. She fainted again. Nick tried to wake up his lover, who expected to be stopped by an employee, making him extremely angry with him. As a result, Nick fell to the bed. It was only at this point that he pulled the blanket off his leg when his legs had been replaced with prostheses. "This is a shock to me," he cursed and yelled at the demon. Not only that, but he also needed to carefully check his middle leg, but it was still intact. Meanwhile, I'm also standing outside watching it all. Ask Nick to calm down, but how can he do it? These new legs give Nick an amazing amount of strength to kick a broken room door lightly. Then he took Harley and ran away again. Seeing that, Demon also slowly chased him until Nick got to the elevator. He also caught up with him, saying that if you want to be safe, you should stay here. There's a lot of danger up there right now. Nick didn't listen, let the elevator close, and then left. Then the two of them got up a long pipe, went all the way through it. They finally made it to the surface. At this time, Harley also regained consciousness. Not long after, they met an old woman driving a car. Fortunately, she gave them a ride. Nick also casually asked where they were, but he didn't get an answer, and the old woman said strange things like they were watching us. This confused Nick. Then they reached a nearby gas station, and the two of them got off the car to let Harley sit near a truck, and Nick went inside to call for help at the right time. He saw on television that he was wanted, and outside the driver drove away with Harley. Nick discovered and immediately chased. His new legs made his strength spike. No matter how much the other driver sped up, Nick kept up. Soon he caught up with the car. Seeing that, the driver was about to find a gun to protest. Who knew when Harley had taken the gun and threatened in return? So the two left him in the middle of the road and just drove the truck away. While the demon was still searching for the two, they soon caught up with the old woman who gave them a ride. They took her back to the interrogation room but did not get any useful information. So Demon took out a beautiful old woman's gun, while Nick and his girlfriend went to an abandoned tourist area to check it out. Nothing works anymore. At this moment they heard a strange noise, groped to check, but discovered Johnner. After they calmed down, they found out that all three of them were tattooed with a code. Johnner also said that he himself had both arms amputated, which were replaced with 2 iron fists. They are guinea pigs for a government research project on the other side. Demon also went to the truck driver's house before. When asked about Nick and Harley's whereabouts, he couldn't tell. The result is given a straight top copper candy. Meanwhile, Nick's group of 3 got into the truck, continued to flee, but not long after, a roadblock requires them to get off the truck to check. So 3 people were discovered. Johnner was shot repeatedly in the body. Seeing that it was not good, Johnner sacrificed his body to break the concrete pillar blocking the car with an iron fist. Nick took that opportunity to drive away, and Johnner used all his strength to punch the ground, causing an earthquake, successfully killing all the soldiers nearby to let Nick and Harley escape. However, he didn't get far when he was stopped by the demon and his men. Nick was about to take a risk to crash into Demon, but who knew that the front wheel was shot and the tire exploded, leading to the car overturning. Once again, Harley was taken away in front of Nick, causing him to burst out of strength. Running as fast as the wind, even bullets could not chase Nick's speed. Flash must also call Nick a teacher at this time. Ran through a whole layer of barrier, but found himself in another dimension. The demon took off his helmet now. It turned out that he was an alien who set a trap and forced Nick to come here to study. Here is not the Earth, but a huge spaceship drifting in space. Nick didn't want to, but he had to accept his fate. The movie has come to an end. If you find it interesting, please support the group by liking the video and subscribing below, and see you in the next movie. Bye bye.